Hey everybody, welcome, welcome to Hidden Horror. Thank you for spending this time with me. I appreciate that. Let's get started.
Hey everybody, I'm here to bring you an update on Negasi Zuberi. Welcome to Hidden Horror. I'm going to start this video off a little bit different. And the reason being, I feel Mr. Zuberi is extremely dangerous. He reminds me, and I've said this before, of serial killer Ted Bundy. He does. He simply does. So I'm going to start it off. I want to get his face up so we can see his face. This is just, when you type in his name, this is some of the imagery that we have to look at. Allegedly, he was also appearing on Judge Judy, and this is a picture of his appearance on Judge Judy, but he was allegedly on the show using an alias, which is Justin Hype. And this is him much younger. You can see the difference in his age and his face. And then this is more current. He's a fairly young man. I believe he's 30 years old now. But I want you to just see some of his imagery. The reason that I'm kind of going backwards because I want to back into what I'm here to talk about today, which is he has another case that's pending right before the explosive case where he allegedly kidnapped a woman in another state, brought her to the state where he lives, and put her into this alleged cinder block cell. What you see here, the chair, the drywall, how it was in his garage, allegedly. This is the door that she was able to break out of. This is the cinder blocks. Now we have some more details coming out, okay? These details involve more evidence that's being released and said publicly, which is now they have some pictures of Mr. Negasi Zuberi allegedly buying the cinder blocks. Okay? Excuse me. So that's one part of what I'm here to discuss. And I want to show you that picture. So I'm going to, okay, I've been showing you the wrong thing. So this is the picture of the cinder blocks. This is the picture of him more current that I just said. This is the door where the victim allegedly got out of. This is inside of the garage where he was renting a property. This is his appearance when he was younger on Judge Judy, and he was using a different name at that time. He had a different alias that he was using, and it was Justin Hype. Okay, so I want to switch from looking at this screen to showing you the picture of Mr. Zuberi allegedly making this purchase at a Home Depot, and that is cinder blocks. They have some receipts, so I'll detail that in the article, but I wanted you to see it because I feel this person is highly dangerous. A person that can plan something like this within the home where his family lives, where he sleeps. You're allegedly kidnapping a woman, bringing them to your personal residence, placing them into the cinder block cell, holding them captive, allegedly as assaulting them. I find him to be very, very dangerous. And that's what I'm here to talk about, which is his other case. Prior to this case with the cinder block, There was another case in May of 2023 where Mr. Zuberi allegedly kidnapped a woman outside of a bar and assaulted her. So I'm here to bring you those details because what's happening, they're going to prosecute both of the cases at the same time. So let's get into that conversation. So I'm going to stop sharing that, and I just want you to see what I'm looking at, and I'm looking at this evidence. So I've shared the article on the Hidden Horror Facebook page. Please, if you need to refer back to it, or you can look up the article yourself because I want to tell you where you can find it. The article is on OregonLive.com. It's dated May 24th, 2024. The title of the article is Prosecutors Detail Negasi Zuberi's Alleged Kidnapping of Woman from Outside Klamath Falls Bar in May of 2023. So now we're getting more details, okay? And we need these details, it's important. I do want to note that those pictures, they have security footage, they have receipts that show Mr. Negasi Zuberi made multiple purchases at Home Depot to buy those pallets of cinder blocks that I just showed you, the insulation panels, etc., so that he could build that makeshift cinder block cell to hold allegedly the woman he kidnapped captive, okay? So that's what that picture was for. This article is by Maxine Bernstein in the Oregon Live. 2 months before Negasi Zuberi allegedly abducted a woman from Seattle, drove her to Oregon, and locked her in a cinder block cell in his Klamath Falls garage, he is accused of kidnapping another woman outside a local bar, holding her in a car in his garage for 12 hours and assaulting her, according to new court records. So let me set the stage. 2 months prior to the incident with the cinder block cell being constructed and him allegedly kidnapping the woman in Seattle and bringing her to Oregon, there was another incident allegedly where Mr. Zuberi kidnapped another woman at a local bar, brought her to his home in the car, and assaulted her, holding her for 12 hours in the garage. Just diabolical. Documents filed Monday by federal prosecutors reveal for the first time details of the alleged May 2023 kidnapping in Klamath Falls, including that an initial local police report described the assault as consensual as. Excuse me. Prosecutors want to try Zuberi, 30 years old, for both cases at the same time and allege that the two show a pattern of predatory behavior and premeditation. Now, I do want to say that at the time when this case was announced, there was a press conference done and they were seeking additional victims, and they showed all of the areas that Mr. Zuberi lived, and they wanted to know whether there were more victims in different areas because he lived in several states. He had traveled, and they were concerned that they may have been missing some victims because of his lifestyle of moving all around throughout the United States. So they were seeking help from the public to contact them if they were a victim of Mr. Zuberi or the other aliases, Justin Hike and the other aliases that he allegedly had. Okay? They cite a seizure of security footage and store receipts that show Zuberi made multiple purchases at a local Home Depot to buy pallets of cinder blocks and installation panels that they say he used to construct a makeshift cell in his garage. I just showed you some of the pictures, right? The store footage and receipts showed him stocking up on other supplies, including sound guard fiber, a security door, and deadbolts, according to the prosecution's pretrial motions. They allege he stalked girls and women waiting in shopping malls. Listen, listen, please. They allege he stalked girls and women waiting in shopping malls and high school parking lots to identify and record them as he tracked them to their cars, jotted down their license plates, and sometimes followed them home to catalog where they lived according to the following. This is a highly dangerous person. I need to read that again. I want you to learn. Please listen. The mindset of these actors, these predators. He allegedly stalked girls and women waiting in shopping malls and high school parking lots. Why would you be at a high school parking lot? Because you believe those young teenagers, young adults are not prepared. That way more easy to manipulate, to kidnap, to learn their patterns. They may not know how to say no. They may not fight back. They may be walking. It can be easily taken. They could be tricked easily or easier. I need you to understand their motivation. What are their intentions? Okay? Stalking, waiting in shopping malls, in high school parking lots, recording them. This is planning. This is preparation for the kidnapping. As he tracked them to their cars, now he knows your car. He's writing down your license plate. He's following you home. Make sure that you're aware of your surroundings, that you keep a pivot, that you see everything that's going on. Don't put headphones on. Don't put two earbuds in. You need to hear what's around you. Look around sometimes. Don't be in the phone like this, walking. Look up because you don't know who's watching you, following you. Please. Excuse me. He tracked them to their cars, jotted down their license plates, and sometimes followed them home to catalog where they live. He's learning the habits. He's learning the times, your comings, your goings. Who do you live with? What time do they come home? Where do you go? Do you work? Doesn't it sound like Ted Bundy? This sounds just like Ted Bundy. He hunted women. He hunted, followed, tracked, observed. That's what hunt means. Assistant U.S. Attorney Suzanne Miles wrote in one document. This is like an urgent message. Zuberi 30 has pleaded not guilty to an 8-count indictment that charges him with 2 counts of kidnapping, 2 counts of being a felon, being a felon in possession of guns and ammunition, 2 counts of being a felon with ammunition, and 1 count each of transportation for criminal activity and attempted escape. Remember, he allegedly tried to escape when he was in prison, in jail. Zuberi's lawyers have asked the court to dismiss the charges, arguing that the owners of the home that Zuberi rented destroyed evidence when they dismantled and removed the cinder block cell in the garage. Klamath Falls mayor and her husband owned the home. So the home that he was renting, it was owned by the mayor of Klamath Falls. How shocking, right? Awful, right? Zuberi's trial is scheduled for October. He remains in custody at the Jackson County Jail in Medford. In 2021, Zuberi was convicted of a felony assault with a deadly weapon in Alameda County, California, after he solicited S from a 16-year-old girl and then S assaulted her and beat her. Why is he out on the street? Why is he free if he S assaulted and beat a 16-year-old? Why is he allowed to be free with these type of charges? He was convicted 3 years ago and he was free. And what did he do? He went and he hurt, he harmed, he injured, he attacked, he has assaulted allegedly more women, kidnapping them, holding them, confining them. Let's continue. The FBI arrested Zuberi last summer after federal authorities accused him of posing as an undercover police officer, kidnapping a woman from Seattle and abusing her on the 452-mile drive to his home in Klamath Falls and locking her in a homemade cinder block cell in his garage, on July 15, 2023. Impersonating a police officer. Ted Bundy, right? The woman was able to escape from the cell by repeatedly beating on a metal screen door and ripping through it with her hands until they bled, and then running out of the garage barefoot for help after grabbing a pistol out of Zuberi's car, police said. But police and prosecutors released little information until now about the other woman who said she encountered Zuberi outside a Klamath Falls bar on May 6, 2023. According to the prosecution's pretrial motions, the woman was stranded outside the bar without a ride, and Zuberi used pickup lines to try to lure her to his car. He's looking for someone that's vulnerable. Vulnerable. Alone. She didn't know Zuberi and tried to get rid of him by giving him her phone number after he wouldn't stop asking for it, the court documents allege. She walked away looking for friends and Zuberi joined her. She remembers him offering her a ride and remembers waking up in his car, not knowing how she got there. Miles wrote in one of the motions. When the woman awoke, she noticed Zuberi was driving fast through downtown Klamath Falls and said he told her he was driving her to her friend's house. After it became clear they were driving for an extended period of time, the woman demanded at one point that he pull over and tried to open the door to jump out when he slowed, but he sped up, according to Miles. Zuberi stopped in an area surrounded by fields and fired a black and yellow taser into the woman's ribs, the prosecutor wrote. When she screamed, Zuberi punched her repeatedly in the face and ribs before grabbing a pistol from under the driver's seat and putting handcuffs around her wrists and ankles, Miles wrote. He warned that he would shoot her if she did anything stupid like that again and fired a shot out the window to show her the gun was real, Miles wrote. The spent shell casing fell on her leg and burned her. He covered the woman's face with the hood of a sweatshirt and a blanket and drove home, backing his car into the garage, according to Miles. The woman told investigators that she spotted a pile of cinder blocks in the garage. He held the woman for about 12 hours, letting her out of his car only to urinate in a bucket. While he kept her handcuffed in the back of his car, he occasionally beat her with his hand and the pistol, at one point holding the gun barrel up to her teeth, Miles wrote. He took her phone and removed its battery, the prosecutor wrote. Zuberi told the woman that she wouldn't get hurt anymore if she had S with him, and she relented under extreme duress, the prosecutor wrote. Zuberi then assaulted the woman multiple times in the car, Miles alleged in the motions. He took a photo of the woman's driver's license and threatened to unalive her and her family if she called the police, Miles wrote. But the woman convinced him to let her go, saying she needed to care for her sick dog, according to the records. Zuberi drove to a bank, withdrew $300 from an ATM at 1:36 p.m. on May 6, 2023, and gave it to the woman to pay for the damage he caused to her face, and then dropped her off near her house, Miles wrote. The woman reported the attack to Klamath Falls police and told them she had been threatened with a gun, tased, and assaulted, according to the prosecutor's filings. The Klamath Falls police report incorrectly said the woman and her attacker had consensual acts, the prosecutors noted. A federal review of an officer's body camera recording of the woman's interview shows she had told police that's what her assailant would claim, that the S was consensual, but it wasn't. Zubari's lawyers, Amy Potter and Michael Berthoff, have asked the court to try him separately on each alleged kidnapping, arguing that trying all the charges in one trial would be prejudicial. They've also pointed out alleged inconsistencies in the local victims' accounts to police and noted that Klamath Falls police initially declined to pursue the case after the woman's first report, according to their motions. Only after months of additional review and Mr. Zubari's insistence on a trial did the government add both the kidnapping charges and the firearm counts in an effort to bolster its case against Mr. Zuberi. Potter and Berthold wrote in their motions. In the May 2023 case, they said federal charges aren't merited because the woman wasn't taken across state lines. So in the case with the cinder blocks, she was taken from the state of Seattle and then brought into Oregon. Whereas in the case with the local bar, it was all in Klamath Falls. Excuse me. They've also sought to throw out search warrants obtained for Zuberi's cars and home, arguing the affidavits submitted for the warrants contained errors. The prosecutors conceded some errors in affidavits, acknowledging, for example, that an affidavit wrongly included that Zuberi showed the Seattle woman a police badge and vest. The prosecutors contend the errors were minor and did not impact the probable cause found to support them. Now, in the case of the woman that was kidnapped allegedly from Seattle and brought to Oregon, when she escaped, she actually got picked up by someone. She stopped someone on the road. She went to the police and brought the police back to the house. So I'm not sure if these errors were significant or not, but her as a victim slash possible witness in the case will be very strong, I believe. Let's continue. Prosecutors also have countered that Zuberi used a cell phone, a bank ATM, a GPS device, and the internet, all instruments of interstate commerce during the course of the May 2023 case to support the federal charge. On the dismantled cinder block cell, prosecutors said the FBI and police took at least 250 photos of the makeshift cell and nearly 20 minutes of video footage before allowing the homeowners to take down and remove the roughly 286 cinder blocks. It took a contractor to deconstruct the 10,000-pound structure with a sledgehammer, according to Miles and her colleagues, Assistant U.S. Attorneys Jeffrey S. Sweet and Nathan J. Lichvarsik. I'm sure the homeowners, being the mayor, would not want that cinder block cell to remain in the garage. They had to move on. These cases could take years to go to trial. Let's continue. Police searches turned up evidence that Zuberi had bought tasers, tire spikes, handcuffs, and leg irons last year. He obtained cell phone jammers. He bought magnetic slap-on tracking devices and paid a monthly subscription for a tracking service he dubbed Operation One on his phone. He also bought a rural property in Bonanza in southern Oregon where investigators suspect he planned on building a concrete house 100 feet underground, according to prosecutors. I know they found some drawings where he wanted to build something underground to confine women. The prosecutors want the two alleged kidnappings tried together, citing their similarities. Mr. Zuberi committed these crimes using his own car and his own home, and he gave each victim an unfettered view of his face, Miles wrote to the court. But Zuberi altered his tactics slightly, the prosecutor said. When the woman abducted from outside the bar in May was taken to the garage of the Klamath Falls home, the cinder blocks were piled up in the garage, but the cell hadn't been built yet, prosecutors said. The Seattle woman in the July kidnapping was locked in the cell, but clawed her way out, grabbed a pistol from Zuberi's car, escaped out of the garage, climbed over his fence, and ran barefoot into the road, screaming for help, police said. Negasi lived in the rented Klamath Falls house with two children and the mother of his children. They all lived together in the house as a family. After the Seattle woman escaped on July 15th, Zuberi fled too. Prosecutors said he hid evidence in an RV at a storage lot and then drove with his family to Reno, Nevada, where he was cornered in a Walmart parking lot after officers tracked his location using the GPS on his phone, Miles wrote in court records. During the standoff, according to the prosecutor, Zuberi threatened to unalive himself and conceded to a crisis negotiator, IMF. Maxine Bernstein covers all of these cases. I want to just go over one last time to be heard. The most important part for me is for us, for the community, for society, for the safety, for the policing, the criminal aspect. We need to know what is the intention. It's to hurt, it's to injure, it's to assault, it's to get away. And how are they doing this? They're planning, they're preparing, they're stalking, they're waiting, they're patient, they're following you, they've identified you, they're watching you, they're recording you, they're following you, they want to know where you live, where you work, who do you know, who do you live with. And this is the most important part of everything I read, once they have identified someone, they're making efforts to figure out how to kidnap you, how to obtain you. In this case, it was more than a challenge to build a cinder block cell. The cost being hundreds and hundreds of dollars. In this effort, this is something that you can't ignore. It's very, very serious. It's a criminal act. He has a history. He has a pattern. He's sitting at a high school in the parking lot looking for someone that's vulnerable. He got the lady at the local bar because she was stranded. He got the other woman that was in Seattle, soliciting her for S. And then he was pretending to be a police officer, impersonating a police officer. She's thinking she's going to the police station when they're traveling for so long. He never goes to a police station. He's taking her home. And what is that home life like? You have two young children. You have a spouse, a partner in the house, and your extracurricular activity, your money, your time, your efforts is being spent on creating, planning, building a cinder block cell to abduct women, to assault them, to hold them hostage. It's really, really a scary thing. I cannot scream this loud enough. I don't think his case is getting enough national attention. I think he is a predator, a serial predator, and he would not be stopped. If he's willing to do this, bring people back to his home with no regard, he doesn't care that you're going to see his face. He's dangerous. I'm going to continue to follow this case as the details come out. I'm going to, continue to bring them. His trial, I believe, is in October of 2024. So we will see. We will see. They need to really figure out a way to remove people that have these type of behaviors out of society, to protect us against them. Please be alert. Please take care of yourself. Be careful, be smart, be savvy. Be well, all my friends. Thank you again for checking out this video. More is to come with Mr. Zuberi. I mean, he has a lot going on with these cases. And more details will be revealed, I'm sure, during the trial. So thank you for spending this time with me. Have a beautiful evening. Bye, everybody.